Good morning. Kapwa ko Filipino, magbasa natin ang ating sariling history. History of the Filipino People by Agoncillo and Guerrero. Today is 26 January 2023. Yung note ko dyan guys, back to original reading tayo, 5th edition. History of the Filipino People, Part 4, the American Period. Topic number 16, Self-Government under America. Paragraph, Resident Commissioners. Basa. Resident Commissioners. The resident commissioners who were chosen by the Philippine legislature with its House voting representative Filipino interests in the United States Congress. The Philippine Bill of 1902 provided that the resident commissioners were entitled to official recognition by the executive departments of the United States government. The U.S. House of Representatives passed a resolution giving the Filipino resident commissioners the right to sit in the session of the of the lower house and enjoy the right of debate and other privileges but not the right to vote. Pablo Ocampo, one of the first resident commissioners, gained distinction when he fought the implementation of free trade policy in the Philippines. Benito Legarda, on the other hand, became the immediate cause of the conflict between the Philippine Commission and the Assembly when the latter insisted on relieving him as resident commissioner during his second term on the ground that he had failed to espouse the true sentiments of the Filipino people. Manuel L. Quezon distinguished himself as a spokesman of the Filipinos when they campaigned for Philippine independence, not only in the halls of the American Congress but also in open forums, speeches, and meetings on the Philippine question by business, civic, as well as student organizations in the United States. National Civil Service. The American authorities as a corollary to the policy of Philippinization established an efficient and non-political civil service. This German commission reported to President McKinley that the Filipinos lacked training in governmental affairs except from being in the Spanish service, which was notoriously corrupt, or by observing its workings. Aware that the patronage or spoils system would prove absolutely fatal to good government in the Philippines, the Commission recommended that the merit or business system be adopted and lived up to. On September 19, 1900, the Philippine Commission enacted the Civil Service Act No. 5, which placed all classified employees, all divisions and agencies of insular, provincial, and municipal governments under the administrative control of the Bureau of Civil Service, which in turn was directly under the control and supervision of the Governor-General. The Civil Service Law required all prospective government employees to submit to a competitive examination that would give them eligibility. Qualified applicants were then entitled to a probationary appointment for 6 months, after which ito talaga yung napakahirap pag mag-apply ka ng work guys. Diba may probing muna bago ka ma-regular. Pang-tagal Qualified applicants were then entitled to a probationary appointment for 6 months, after which they were given permanent appointments if the service was considered satisfactory during the probationary period. The law provided that all regularly appointed employees could not be removed or separated from the civil service except for justifiable reasons. These requirements of the civil service program in the Philippines, however, did not apply to appointments made by the President of the United States, the Governor-General, and the Philippine Commission, especially if such appointments had something to do with policy making of the executive branch of the government. Subsequent laws passed after 1916 provided that among qualified American and native applicants with the same eligibility ratings, preference should be given to Filipinos. The authorities during the first decade of American rule saw so to it that the civil service in the Philippines was free from the interference of the church and the intervention of politics or the spoil system, whether native or American. They also attempted to surmount irritating disharmony between the merit system emphasized by the civil service system and the Filipino social structure, and tried to minimize the pressure exerted by family and kinship loyalty among the people, which obligated highly placed Filipino personnel to prepare consanguinal, affinal, and ritual compadrazgo relations over the non-relatives. Consequently, the Philippine civil service was more superior to and had a wide application and more practical enforcement than the civil service in the United States. Education under the Americans, 1898 to 1915. The establishment of an adequate secularized and pre-public school system during the first decade of American rule has the greatest and probably the most lasting effect in the political and cultural development of the Filipinos than any of the military and political innovations introduced by the Americans. It is probably because of this reason that the anti-American feeling generated by so much destruction and misery during the Filipino-American War and the era of suppressed nationalism was almost completely eradicated from the Filipino mind that Filipinos immediately regarded the Americans as their guides and benefactors. Owing to the recommendation of the German Commission that a secularized public system be established for the Philippines, President McKinley instructed the Task Commission to promote and extend a system of free primary instruction that would train the people for the duties of citizenship and for the ordinary avocations of a civilized community. President McKinley suggested that primary education should be given in the first instance in every part of the islands in the language of the people, but in view of the many languages spoken in the Philippines, he asked the Taft Commission to establish English as a common medium of communication and pay special attention to its dissemination among the people. The military authorities had been most active in the fields of education before the civil government was established. General MacArthur saw the need for the establishment of free public schools, and for this purpose assigned chaplains and non-commissioned officers to teach in Manila or in the provinces where conditions of peace and order had been certified. The military authorities built the first American school in the Philippines in the island of Corregidor, as well as the first public school buildings in Manila and nearby municipalities. On January 21, 1901, the Philippine Commission passed Act 74, which established a highly centralized public school system. The law provided for a system of public primary education as well as a normal school in Manila for the training of Filipino teachers. The Commission safeguarded the separation of church and state in the Philippines and saw to it that the secular outlook of education was preserved. Section 16 of the law prohibited teachers in the public schools from teaching religion on pain of dismissal from the public service. The realization that the use of Philippine dialects in public instruction would result in practical difficulties and unnecessary expenditure, as well as drive away a large number of American teachers, made the Commission contrary to McKinley's suggestions establish English as the medium of instruction. In 1901, the Secretary of Public Instruction, authorized by the Philippine Commission, brought 600 teachers from the United States to meet the need for public school teachers in the Philippines. The Thomasites, so called for having arrived aboard the transport, Thomas served as teachers, principals, superintendents, and supervisors in public schools throughout the Philippines. Pero alam ko guys, marami na tayong schools ng panahon ng Spaniards. Yung ang mga famous na schools natin, galing yun sa diba, sa Spanish time pa yan, Spaniard time pa yan. Yung mga malalaki university natin ngayon. Okay, ulit tayo. Dito masahid so-called for having arrived aboard the transport to must serve as teachers, principals, superintendents, and supervisors in public schools throughout the province. Kasi sinakop tayo ng Spaniards mga 1521 pa lang. Year 1521. Tapos binitawan tayo nasa 1900 na yata. So almost 400 years. Imposibleng wala tayong mga schools, diba? Kaya nga, di ba nakalagay doon sa una yung mga famous natin na school ngayon is galing pa yung sa Spaniards. Ulit tayo. Dito masahid so-called for having arrived aboard the transport to must serve as teachers, principals, superintendents, and supervisors in public schools throughout the Philippines. In March 1902, the Philippine Commission enacted a law establishing a high school system in the country which would be supported by funds from provincial governments. Subsequent laws passed by the Commission opened special educational institutions, a trade and art school for carpentry and mechanics, and agricultural school for commerce, even a merchant marine institute. In 1908, the Philippine legislature approved Act No. 1870 creating the University of the Philippines. Murray Bartlett, an American, became the first president of the state, but in 1915 the government chose Ignacio Villamor from among the ranks of well-educated and highly capable Filipinos to become the first Filipino president of the university. The system of education introduced by the Americans was a radical departure from the highly limited, effective, and religion-oriented system of education repudiated by the Spaniards for more than 3 centuries or 300 years yan. In contrast to the, diba nga almost 400 years nga yan, so 3 centuries. For more than 3 centuries. In contrast to the Spanish system of allowing only the children of the privileged classes to enjoy the educational facilities of the colony, the American allowed the children of the masses to take advantage of the free public school system. The government, through a law enacted by the Philippine Commission in 1933, financed the studies of deserving students and professionals in American colleges and universities. The Americans stressed citizenship training and understanding as well as practice of the democratic way of life, while the Spaniards emphasized religion and the afterlife. The Spaniards denied the Filipinos the opportunity to learn the Spanish language, while the American, in an effort to hasten, kahit ayaw mong ng Spanish language, guys, sa tagal ng sinakop tayo, imposible hindi natin na maintindihan yung Spanish language. Kasi nakalagay rito, the Spaniards denied the Filipinos the opportunity to learn the Spanish language, while the Americans, in an effort to hasten the organization of the public school system, disseminated the English language. It was unfortunate, however, that the educational efforts of the Americans should later place native ideas, customs, and traditions, and even the national identity of the Filipinos in danger of obliteration. In the educational system established by the Americans, Filipino materials of instruction were almost non-existent in the curriculum. Young Filipinos were taught American songs, American ideals, the lives of American heroes, and great men in complete indifference to Filipino patriots, ideals, and culture. The use of the vernacular was prohibited, and punishment was actually meted out to those who dared speak the native dialects. Until the Commonwealth was established, no Filipino was allowed to head the Department of Public Instruction. By that time, a full generation of miseducated and Americanized Filipinos, in the words of Renato Constantino, had gone through an educational program that was originally established as an instrument of pacification. Hanggang dito na lang, guys. Bukas na yung Taft and American Policy in the Philippines 1901 to 1913. Bye everyone. God bless.